Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, and that's books. Today's video is going to be all about books, all about the books I read in 2023. Now, I am no book YouTuber yet, but I'm no book YouTuber, so I have not read 50 plus books, okay? In fact, let's go back in time to, so you can get to know my book life. I really started reading more books in high school. That's when I really found books that I loved and I would just read all the time. And, after high school and went to college, I really did not read at all in college, only for school, and that's it. I didn't read any books for fun. So even after college, I would try to read a book and it would just take me forever. And when I say forever, it took me a long time. A little bit too long. But I have always been like, I want to get back to reading those books, just reading in general, because I love reading. You're entering into another world, you learn things, and I just love reading. This year in 2023, I read a decent amount, and a lot of it happened more so towards the end of the year. I would say towards August to December, now December, is when I really read like the chunk of these books. So I just thought I would share them with you all today. We'll start off with my first book that I read this year, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book took me a while to finish, and it's not because it was a bad book by any means, but this is when I was kind of start getting back into reading, and I don't know, maybe I was like super busy time in my life, I don't know. But I can't even say that, because when a book is good, you don't want to put it down no matter how busy you are. But this book, I really did end up enjoying it. It's about a woman named Evelyn Hugo, and she's basically like a celebrity and actress, and it walks you through each of her 7 husbands that she's had. And I just thought this book was such an interesting concept. I mean, I really felt like I stepped into a celebrity's life and kind of got a glimpse of how they live. I wasn't expecting I feel like Evelyn was real. Like she was a real celebrity, and I was just getting insights on her life. And it's also a very interesting concept talking about her 7 husbands. When you hear about 7 husbands, you're like, okay, what happened? But as you read the book, it kind of makes sense. You kind of understand it, especially in the lifestyle that she lives. It's basically Evelyn talking with a reporter, and she's basically giving this reporter her whole life story, going through her journey with her 7 husbands. I don't know, it's interesting. If this sounded good, I'm not the best book reviewer, I will say that. But it was a good book, and I'd recommend it. I know a lot of people read this, and a lot of people liked it, so add this to your list. All right, so this next book is the start of everything for me, okay? I read the Sarah J. Maas series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and this book took up my life, and it still takes up space in my heart and in my mind, okay? I don't think I'll ever forget this series. I would say this series is what really brought me back into reading. Here's the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. So, basically in this book, you have the main character, Farah. Her family's they're like in poverty. She has to hunt for food for her 2 sisters, and her dad. Her mother passed away when she was younger. Basically, she ends up killing this wolf, which ends up being a high fae. It's fantasy. I will say that. This is a fantasy book, fantasy series. But she ends up killing this high fae. He ends up taking her back to Prythian, which is like the worlds that you enter. And there's a little romance in there. And she goes through some challenges, some real challenges. And she has to fight her way back, fight for her love, fight her way back to her family. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. I think you guys should try this book. If you read this book and you're like, keep reading the other books, because I think you'll end up liking it. Moving on to the next book in the series, A Court of Mist and Fury. This book, you can see that I've crinkled the pages. I don't know, you can't even see. I don't know if you can really see that. But there's a dent here because your girl was heavily into this book. Heavily. Gold. This book is gold. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. Captivating. Romance. Drama. Craziness. It's just everything I would have wanted in a book. And it was great. It continues on from A Court of Thorns and Roses. And basically you see the main character, Feyre. You see some relationships change in her life. And she kind of begins to have a new family. And try not to spoil it for anyone who wants to read it. But this book, I would say, is new relationships in her life. That found family type feel. More romance. And a lot of explanation for a lot of things that happened in the first book. I'm just saying, just read it. Just read it. This next book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, is the 3rd book in the series. These are hefty books, you guys. Like, these are hefty. 700-page type hefty. She was a little dramatic and she did 699 pages in this book, but you know what I mean. These are big books, okay? So like, these will take you a little bit to read. Unless you have not much to do and you just fly by. But anyways, this is the 3rd book in the series. And I love this book. I would say so far in the series that this one, and then the last book have been my favorite. This book, just think war. Just think cinematic war. And to be able to write a book and be able to kind of write a choreographed war scene is, I think that's talent. She did a really good job of that. I felt like I was out on the battlefield with them. And just a lot happens in this book. We'll say more romance. We'll say some meetings happen with some drama. I felt like I was on a reality TV show where they have like the end of the season wrap up and everybody's talking and people are just at people's throats. That's how I felt reading this book. And one scene in particular, if you know, you know, war. This book, great. Made me want to be a warrior. I was like, oh. I give this also a 5 out of 5. I know it was slow to start, I will say, but towards the middle/end, the last 100 pages, my soul was being ripped out of me. I don't know what to tell you. It was good. All right. 4th book in the series, This Tiny Little Thing. This book took me longer than it should have to read, and it's only 233 pages. And they call it a novella, so it's kind of like a short story. And there was so much drama, so much chaos that happened in these 3 books that she gave us this book. And she said, just relax, you guys. Everything's gonna be fine. We have a little hope for the future. We're having a little sweet festive moment together. And this was a happy book. A happy book. Did a lot happen in this book? No. No, but I do feel like it was a good setup for the last book. So this book, I love this series so much, I don't want to give it a bad rating, but it really didn't do much for me. I was ready for some chaos and some action, which I didn't get from this book, A Court of Frost and Starlight, but I did get in the most recent book of the series, A Court of Silver Flames. Now, those other 4 books that I just showed you in this series were all from Feyre's perspective. This book, wait. Now, okay, let me backtrack. The first 3 books are from Feyre's perspective, the main character. This book, you get other characters' perspectives, and so that was kind of different too, which was fine, but it was very different from the first 3 books. And then this book, Thicken, is dedicated to Miss Nesta, and it was good. I like this book. I didn't know how much I really like this book. One, because I just kind of random. Why is it from Nesta's perspective? This author is still writing more books for the series, so maybe there's some real importance to have Nesta's point of view. I'm not sure, but it was still good. Nesta, once you read the books, you'll understand that her character can be very problematic to say the least. And yeah, she's just not having it. She's not having a good time, and she doesn't want what happened. She didn't want what happened to her to have happened to her. So she just is like a sour peach. Is that the saying? She's like a sour peach throughout the whole series. And then you get this book and you kind of see things from her perspective, and you kind of understand why she is the way she is, even though still you're like, okay, you can feel that way but not be acting all crazy like you do. But still, I really like this book, even though it was a third person point of view. I think she did a really great job of showing who Nesta really was. I felt like there was so much character development in this. Definitely romance. If you know, you know. I got a sip on that one. This book made me want to like work out because she was doing a lot of training, and I was like, geez, like I need to train. I need to learn how to fight. And it was just very inspirational, kind of. I know some people don't like it. A lot of people don't like Nesta, and honestly, I did not like her until this book, really. So, I'm right there with you. But this book is 751 pages, so it's a big one. I love it. There's so much in this book that's happening. That was the whole series of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Love the series, love these books, and she is working on another one, and I thought I heard it's supposed to come out next year. So if you all have read this whole series or any of these books, let me know what you think about them, how you feel, which characters you like, which characters you don't like, which book is your favorite. Let me know if you guys have read this, and I really recommend that you read it. Even if you're not into fantasy, give it a try. The last book I read this year, and I wish I would have had the other one ready to go so I can just read it, but I literally got the second book to the series today, so I will be starting it, but I'm pretty sure like I won't be able to finish it until next year, which sounds so far away, but you know, Christmas is literally right around the corner. It's next week, so I don't have time to be reading a book during the Christmas season, Christmas celebrations. Anyways, the last book that I read this year was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This book, I have mixed opinions, and don't come for me if you love this book. Here's the tea. I was hearing so much about how great this book is and all of that, and Xaden. Like who's Xaden? And does he compare to Rhys from A Court of Thorns and Roses? Does he compare to Rhys? Because after reading A Court of Thorns and Roses and then going to this, I had high expectations for our male main character. Now, I did really like this book. I really do. I just don't know if it gave me everything that I was looking for, but also like maybe it didn't give me everything because I literally just read it in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So now like I'm trying to put the pieces back together of my soul, and this is like my rebound book. That sounds bad. Let's be serious. This book was good. It's about a girl. Yeah, see, I already forgot her name. All right, let's go back. This book is about a girl named Violet, and basically she trained her whole life to be a scribe, which basically is, according to this book, someone is basically like a historian who kind of works in the library. They're super quiet, very smart, and they like keep track of history and just all this stuff. Keep track of everything. Growing up, like that's what she always thought she was going to be. That's what her dad was, and that's what she thought she was going to be as well. But her mom is like the general, like the head honcho of the riders, and the riders are the ones who ride the dragons. And those are like the soldiers, the warriors. And basically, Violet's dad passes away, and her mom basically is like, you are going to be a rider. And she's like, hold up, me, a rider? Be for real. Because people who are riders, like they've trained their whole lives to be riders. And it's a voluntary thing if you want to be a rider. But like they've trained for that, and she hasn't. She's trained to be a scribe. So anyways, long story short, she enters into this whole world of being a rider, and you know, some things are happening that seem a little sus. Some towns are being attacked, And basically she finds out that things are not what she was taught. And then there's a little romance with Xaden. Xaden sounds very attractive, but I just can't picture him for some reason. Like, I could picture Reese in the series I just talked about, but Xaden, like, I know he has a scar, and I know he is tan, and I know he's dangerous, but I don't know much else about how he looks. So maybe because I can't picture him, that's why it's hard for me. I don't know. But even though I can't picture him, I did still see the romance and the relationship he had with Violet. And I just think personally that it came too late. Like, they were just so at odds, and then all of a sudden they were together. And I'm like, is this for real? Like, are you really into it? Is this really happening? So I was just a little confused on their relationship, but I still think that you can definitely see that they do have a relationship, that they do like each other. But it just took me a second to get on board with that relationship. But I do think the whole world of this book is really cool. I'm excited to see what comes next in this series. And this also made me want to work out and ride a dragon. So kind of gave me Game of Thrones vibes. If you like Game of Thrones, you might like this book. I mean, it is definitely kind of different than Game of Thrones, but it's still a good book to read. So yeah, that is all the books I read in 2023. I just want to read more, you guys. These books have just really made me so excited to read. And I'm so excited to have that back again because it's something that I love doing. So if you guys have any book recommendations, please send them my way. I love fiction, fantasy, sci-fi, romance, all that good stuff. So please send me any book recommendations you have. And I definitely want to make more reading, more book videos. If you guys are interested, please let me know. If you want me to make more videos about books and books that I'm reading next year. I do incorporate that in some of my videos, but I don't go in depth. And even with these, I didn't really go that in depth with explaining them, but I don't want to give much away. Yeah, let me know if you want more videos like this. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas, a great holiday season, and a great new year. And I will see you in my next video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at itsashleyeve_. And I will see you in the next video.